And thank you for joining. This is the third episode of our webinar series, 21st Century Supply Chain Planning, Empowering Manufacturers. We are here today with Gregor Sablič from QLECTOR. He is speaking about unlocking manufacturing and supply chain master data with digital twins. So today we're going to get into the purpose of the webinar series very briefly. I'll introduce Gregor and then I'll hand it off to him to present. And at the very end, we'll do a Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please write them in the chat and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. So feel free as we go along to write them as the thought pops into your head. Feel also free to write them at the very end as we start the Q&A. So the purpose of this webinar series is to connect people and companies within manufacturing and supply chain planning. Our main purpose is to empower manufacturing companies to thrive despite, as we've listed here, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and fast-changing environments. So we're really excited to get this series going, get expert speakers together, be able to share thoughts, be able to share questions and answers with each other, and hope to continue to build this community. So this webinar series is powered by us here at Quantics, and Quantics is a best-of-breed provider of cutting-edge forecasting and supply chain solutions, which are tailored to the needs of manufacturing companies specifically. And Quantics was founded back in 2020 by a team of data scientists and supply chain experts, and we're now supporting users across multiple continents with our solutions. We serve industry-leading clients from manufacturing like Mondi with up to 25+ billion euros in annual revenue. And we're happy to connect afterwards. If you have any questions for Quantics specifically after the presentation, feel free to reach out to us. So today, Gregor Sablič is with us today. Thank you so much for being here, Gregor. First of all, he's traveling at the moment, so he's not even in his home country to joining us from Germany. But Gregor is the senior engineering expert and head of business development at QLECTOR. QLECTOR specializes in the development of AI solutions for manufacturing. He guides clients through the entire process of reshaping their manufacturing landscape using QLECTOR LEAP. Just shortly, QLECTOR LEAP is an innovative AI-powered software solution for remote production guiding, and Gregor's going to get into that later in his presentation. And before assuming his current role, he was at SKF Group as a key account manager for several years. And he has extensive experience in manufacturing and believes in the transformative power of data-driven decisions for business, especially when harnessing the potential of digital twins, which he's going to get into in this presentation in more detail. And from here, I'm going to hand it off to Gregor, where he can speak even more about himself and his solutions and share the insights of digital twins for us today. So thank you, Gregor. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And also thank you very much for having me as a host speaker. I would like to say hello to everyone, whether listening to us live now or even later on. I'm glad to be here, and today's presentation will focus mainly to introduce you to digital twins in manufacturing as well as supply chain, where we will explore the concept of digital twins, which is a technology which is reshaping the landscape of that field. How I would like to drive these conversations? Briefly, I would like to additionally introduce myself and also the company I'm working with, which is also providing this solution, which will be partly introduced to you today as well. And then we will go step by step through the introduction, so through the basics of the digital twins, to connecting them, or how we utilize and also use them in manufacturing as well as supply chain. So let's get started. Like mentioned, a couple of words about myself. I'm coming from Ljubljana, Slovenia, and I'm holding a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering from University of Ljubljana. And I also upgraded that with Masters of Business Administration from Kotrugli Business School. I'm otherwise working in manufacturing domain for practically all my professional life, being in different positions, but always focusing mostly on services and solutions for various industries with the aim of improving OEE, whether of certain parts of production, whether of the whole, let's say, production or plant area. So initially I was, as mechanical engineer, using also knowledge, more technical knowledge for hardware solutions, but then I also started with the software part, which will be also discussed today. You have my contact information here, so feel free to contact me anytime also after this presentation. I'm happy to respond and also to share certain opinions, yeah. And now also actually a couple of words about our company, which comes actually from bigger story from QLECTOR Group. QLECTOR is pretty known company, especially in automotive sector, as tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers for main automotive brands. And during 60 years of being present on the market, they, of course, also established and developed other business verticals, that actually leads us to our company, which is named QLECTOR. And we are actually a joint venture between QLECTOR Group, and the other part is a spin-out of largest Slovenian research institute, which has more than 15 years of practical experiences on the field of AI, as well as digital twins. Initially, these experiences were implemented in companies like Bloomberg, New York Times, but then after joining with QLECTOR, we were aiming to actually solve the main organizational challenges which appear in such big and developed production company. And as actually it turned out, the solution was very beneficial. They decided to implement it in all their manufacturing sites. But on the other side, we also went on the market with the solution. And we are now, besides automotive sector, very much present also in other industrial areas like home appliances, EMS production, railway, as well as process industry. We are compliant with all security requirements as our solution is working in cloud. So we own also IT security certificate. And during last years, we also established partnerships with different companies to have standardized connectors as well as different business relations. We were also recognized as finalists of MHP Future Factory Hackathon. Okay, to go into more concrete things now, let's go to the introduction, so basics actually, what the digital twin actually is. So theoretically, but also practically, of course, the digital twins create a virtual replica of physical objects, as the one, let's say here in this picture, which is used then to monitor, analyze, and also optimize the performance of certain physical assets, such as machinery, equipment, buildings, or even entire production process, which is also the area we will mostly focus on today's presentation. And how the digital twin is created. So we actually connect IoT sensors to physical assets, and a single stream of data called digital thread enables creating this digital twin. Okay. The main characteristics of digital twin are, at first place, connectivity. So it enables constant flow of data between physical world and, let's say, a virtual world or digital twin world. and the product status can be easily shared through the digital twin. The homogeneity part is consolidation of all product information in one place, so that the intention is that we really have all information and also as much accurate as possible information at one place. Then that it also, digital twin itself also enables adaptability in terms of simulations. So it can adapt using AI methods. So advanced algorithms, additional algorithms can help to digital twin to adapt to certain part which is in the background. And then at the end, it also have digital traces, so it helps actually in detecting errors and also planning improvements in front of us. Yeah. What are the applications, especially in manufacturing as well as supply chain? So in manufacturing, usually digital twins are used when testing product development. So they allow the simulation and also testing of new product designs before they are physically built. The second thing is, and this is actually also a thing which we will mostly focus on today, is that they can model the whole entire, the entire supply chain, providing also insights into logistics, inventory levels, as well as supplier performance. And also they can enable to digitalize the whole production process, and with digitalizing also to optimize it as well. So to focus more on supply chain, we actually have a network of interconnected digital twins through whole supply chain. Yeah, so from the plant, so the factory has one network of digital twins to actually network of different plants and more, let's say, assets connected together to the end, to the last mile delivery and support. And today, I'd like mostly to focus on this first part, so intra-factory network of digital twins and how they can provide improved visibility, how they can also enable proactive issue identification, as well as enhance the whole overall operational efficiency. So we will focus on actual digital twin of the company. And now if we put ourselves in one production plant, okay, one production site, what is actually the problem here? The problem is that we need to effectively manage multiple resources here in this certain production plant. One resource are machines, so these are physical assets or workstations. The other resource is material, so raw material being transformed into final products. We all have products, and at the end we also have people there, so workers which are responsible for certain operations, and also that they're able to give machines certain input to transform this material. And our goal actually is to orchestrate all these three resources together in order to create a production process that is efficient as possible, while ensuring highest possible quality of the finished products. Yeah, and this requires, of course, careful planning of the production area, as well as constant monitoring and also adaptation on certain changes. If we now just focus more on challenges in manufacturing, which actually are background for our digital twin, is they are practically present in every manufacturing company. So I'm talking now more about company internal challenges, and one is certainly data accuracy as well as data quality, which results in inefficient information transfer between different departments and different teams. Then what is very usual is this discrepancy between theoretical production planning and also reality in the shop floor. And then at the end, also people in the company has lots of company-specific knowledge, but this knowledge is usually locked within themselves, but on the other hand, not transparently shown in such digital ecosystem. And all this ends up in very inefficient inventory levels, low production utilization, as well as longer lead times. Our experiences, as well as outcome of the researchers, and this is actually an outcome of academic research, also showed that even though we have lots of advanced Industry 4.0 solutions present on the market, usually companies stop here in digitalization stage. Yeah? So they somehow cover visibility, so what is happening, but to go beyond that, to understand why something is happening, to also have ability to predict the future, what will happen in the future, as well as to adapt to certain autonomous, let's say, responses, autonomous events in the production area. This is actually where really digital twins and as well as AI is helping us. But at the end, yeah, these, let's say, technologies are not yet penetrated in the market, even though they exist. So now let's go, into more concrete things related with digital twins, especially in connection with master data management within the production area. I would like to just firstly to introduce you actually to our solution, which is called QLECTOR LEAP, just to have a basic feeling what it is about, and then we will more focus on how it can help and benefit the companies. So I would like to use Google Maps as an analogy. This is the simplest one, is also most understandable one. So we all use Google Maps. So we enter the end destination here, and Google actually gives us prediction of how we're going to get there, so which path we're going to take, as well as how long we're going to need to get there. Yeah? And on the other hand, if we make a wrong turn, or if we have a hit on the traffic jam, the system fastly recalculates and try to find alternative route, and in case if it's more optimal, then suggests it to us, and we still then conform it. Our approach within QLECTOR to optimizing production in manufacturing facilities is similar as Google Maps. So we start by planning using historical data in order to develop predictive capabilities. Yeah, and then during the production, which is constantly running and of course constantly dynamic, we recalculate all simulations using real-time data from the shop floor. And then if a problem arises in the future due to current demands, we enable rescheduling to avoid potential issues altogether. Yeah? And this allows us always to adapt as well as optimize the production process quickly. Now, how we achieve that? Technologically, we actually guide our customers through a journey that begins by helping them collect the data from historical parts, so historical data, and master data from ERP. Then we set up digital twin and also clean this data with the help of digital twin, supported by AI as well. And we then build digital twin of production facilities, all production lines, and all even workers at the end. And then by collecting and learning from live data from the production, we are able then to create certain simulations, which then end up as a forecast. So we can be able to prepare on the future events which can happen. But you will see later on, I will explain even further, but maybe this is just a main, let's say, introduction of product architecture. Also, with extracting all this data at the end, we create these simulations and also generate forecasts and insights for appropriate people, appropriate teams, so they are able to react as soon as something, some anomaly happens. Yeah. Now, how we achieve that? So, as mentioned, our system core represents a digital twin, okay, of the company, and this digital twin is, of course, data-driven. So the model is scalable. That means that this actually lives with the company. So with gathering the master data from the sources I mentioned before. And on the other hand, it also brings very big or huge or wide transparency, I would say, to different departments. Yeah. So actually the whole company is having live views of certain things which they need to watch. And what we do, we initially help technological department to determine discrepancies in the master data. So reality versus normatives. We will also see that later on. And when master data is, let's say, more updated or more accurate, we then help production planners to create most optimal production schedule. And when they release it to the production area, it's also visible to the logisticians, to procurement, as well as the sales department, in terms of having the whole visibility of stock simulations. Yeah. So how each and every stock part is going to move or look like, actually move with the quantities, of course. And at the end, it's directly visible to the shop floor area, to team coordinators, which ease up their work with rescheduling and adjusting the production with fast what if and what now simulations, as well as helping them to schedule workers on the shop floor. So assign people by shifts based on their limitations, as well as competencies. And at the end, for the production managers, you will also see that later on, it forecasts the main KPIs the company is following. Okay. So what we would like to achieve actually with predictions, which are based on data-driven data-driven digital twin, I wanted to say. So on the left side, we have reactions. So usually people in production area or all these stakeholders I mentioned in the previous slide are usually reactive, are usually firefighting. Yeah, that means that instead of being reactive all the time, that means that certain event happens before any insights are available for it, and before any analysis is completed. We like to achieve to be preactive, yeah, on the other side. So events are being predicted in front, and we can also avoid them with taking countermeasure effect prior it can happen, yeah. So we can really avoid them. To turn that into our digital twin, let's see how that reflects in the real case. So here I have a display, one cut of our solution, which is typical reactive. Yeah, so it's actually weekly realization view, which is comparison between confirmed planning scenario from the planner and then realistic realization through each and every shift. So how much it was realized in reality, and let's say different departments can also take certain analysis at the end, but they can take them after the production is already finished. Yeah, so that's typical reactive approach. On the other hand, what I mentioned before, we are able to be preactive with implementation of digital twin because we are creating a forecast. So based on the released planning scenario in the production area, we display forecasts of the main KPIs. So like how many people are going to work on the shop floor, what will be equipment utilization, OEP, how many production delays we're going to have, and similar things. Yeah. So actually, we can see then actually how the planning scenario reflects in all these things. and this is typical reactive way. And now maybe to turn on that part, how do we actually improve organizational excellence with utilizing digital twin in manufacturing? So we actually create full shop floor simulation, as visible here, and also predict production based on learned historical data. Yeah, so we know exactly how the whole production will look like, and also how much is going to be produced, how inventory levels are going to move, and also, let's say, predictions of, for instance, tool changes if we're talking about discrete manufacturing. So we really have the whole shop floor simulation in front of us, as well as these intermediate stock levels. Yeah. On the other side, if the company has multiple plants also connected with the material flow, we also, of course, the digital twin is even more powerful, even more beneficial, because it can really gives us the full and transparent view of each and every plant and how intermediate stock levels are going to move. Of course, we take into consideration the transportation time, as well as certain outsourced operations, which are also very usual in the companies, production companies. Yeah. What digital also enables us is to model automatic work centers. So, for instance, behind these models are injection molding machines. Yeah. And we can see a clear distribution of speed for 3 different operations. So we have these models in front of us. On the other side, we are also able to model assembly work centers. Usually these are manual work centers, which are managed by certain individuals or teams of workers. And we actually learn from the data in order also to identify the most appropriate fit, let's say, worker product or a team of workers workstation or these kind of things. So, you know, even we utilize much more efficiency in the production area. Yeah, here we also see one very interesting case. So comparing models versus normatives with the help of, again, of the digital twin. So we can input quantity, and based on certain quantity, the system gives us this comparison, yeah, between model and actually historical data and the normative. And we can see that, let's say, with increasing the quantities, this, of course, discrepancy is also bigger. So, for instance, this is then a signal that should maybe check or modify this data, especially if we're talking about master data. Yeah? At the end, what do we want to achieve? So I'm talking about digital twin, but at the end, you know, we must be able to explain all these predictions we are creating with the help of digital twins. If these are not explainable, it's, you know, really hard then to do any change or to modify some things, or even, let's say, adapt, yeah, to certain circumstances in the production area. So how we do that is actually we are overviewing how predictions are calculated all the time. Therefore, also traceability on changes on the models need to be enabled. And that's the key established to trust, you know, between us and our clients. So here we see, for instance, what are the predictions based on historical data. So how much quantity we're going to produce on certain shift based on selected plan, yeah, on certain operation. And of course, all this background need to be explainable with the help of certain additional views. Okay, let's also check a couple of real-world use cases or scenarios. I will go briefly through them just to have a feeling where actually such things are bringing benefits, yeah, to the production company. The first one is one of our mother company, we can say, but it's also longest implementation. So they also have very good benefits here. They're managing actually 6 different production sites. And the main pain was that they really spent a lot of time with manually creating the plans and also modifying them in Excel in order to show what is necessary for production line. Yeah. And also the plan was always changing, always dynamic. And they really had a lot of downtimes on organizational aspects because they were not responding accurately and also in a timely manner on all these changes. So they gained, after implementation, they gained 3 days of predictions in ahead. Usually, you know, they're constantly firefighting, but these are upfront predictions. And from this also, they reduced organizational downtimes, which directly influenced on OEE of the overall production area. The second use case is related with electric motors company, so producing electric motors, and they, I wouldn't, let's say, go through them again, but they actually faced pretty similar challenges. So it's maybe just a different industry, and where it really brought benefits in this specific implementation, it was that they improved inventory turnover for 10%, as well as the lead times. So this promise time to the customer, which is always good, because you never know how everything is going to look like in dynamic production. And they also increased planner productivity for 50% from this client. Third case is more related with scheduling people on the shop floor. So what I mentioned before. So this company has very, very diverse product portfolio, and also it was very hard for them to manually build optimal teams with managing more than hundreds of different work centers in one shift. So they mainly have challenges with predicting the lead times to customer, and with implementation they benefited in 10% shorter lead time, which directly influenced to customer satisfaction in the beginning, but at the end also to OEE and to savings. And the last one is more related with the process industry. So also to have one from the process industry, just to pinpoint here what is usually the case in this let's say industry types, that usually they have lots of rules, whether related with the coding, with the rinsing and cleaning operations. And usually these times are not only not realistic, but they are it's hard to create schedule, especially manually, with taking all these rules into consideration. And if we make the system to take these rules and digital twin also to learn from the data, then it really enables the users that they can forget about these limitations they needed to be careful before, but really focus more on planning the whole production area. Okay, so before I wrap up, just let's say a couple of conclusions. So what at the end actually where the digital twin brings value is that initially, so what I said before, we are comparing master data with reality from the production. And that is very helpful initially with detecting production routings from historical data. So in reality, usually products are being produced in alternative workstations, not in the ones they are mentioned in master data. Then comparing normatives versus realistic production times, or we can call them cycle times. Also calculating realistic throughput times of the level of each material and workstation, so to have the whole overall throughput time of whole production area. At the end, also detecting parallel materials from historical data, scrap levels, and also in process industry quality issues, as well as changeover times with tools. So changing tools in discrete manufacturing or clean increasing operations in process industry. And at the end, what I mentioned before, it really helps up when we are digitalizing company-specific knowledge from users. So system is, constantly upgrading, living with the company as well as learning. So that really will let the system to take into consideration all production specific, and then it's easier to really focus more on real stuff, real things, which are happening in the production area. And as the last one, so overall benefits, of course, I mentioned them via use cases, but let's say certainly such advanced systems are very, very helpful in increasing productivity on one hand, and on the other hand, also improving inventory levels, especially if we're talking about work in progress inventory levels, yeah, because we have more clear picture in front of us and we know how all these levels are going to move. And with the connected with the productivity, it certainly increase planners' productivity. That means that they can really focus on the future. They save time. It saves time for logistics personnel. On average by 15%. Also to team coordinators, because they don't need to constantly communicate with the planners, but they just simply go in the system. They say, okay, now I know in advance, let's say for the next shift, this line will be off because I need to manage it or do some maintenance work. How will that reflect on the production area? Yeah? So no need to additional communication, and then system really transparently give him information. Of course, at the end, there are really reduced number of certain errors, and also shorter production time on assembly lines, as well as we mentioned before, also improved delivery times to the customer or lead times. Okay, with that said, I would wrap up here. Thank you for listening. I hope I give you good insights into world of digital twins related with plants or production plants, production companies. And yeah, I'm free to answer you on any questions.
Thank you, Gregor, for a very insightful presentation. Just was wondering, how does the setup process look like of such a digital twin in a manufacturing company, and what challenges you encounter when setting up a digital twin for a manufacturing company?
Great. Thank you for feedback, and also thank you for the question. So yeah, let's say, I mean, by setup, I believe you mean implementation. So how implementation looks like, we firstly, of course, connect to two main systems as data sources. So one is the ERP, and the other is production realization system, which is usually MES. And as soon as we receive the data from there, we are able to evaluate actually the digital maturity of the specific client. Yeah. So, and this is actually maybe already the first area where we usually face certain challenges, for sure. And this is actually why it's good to connect, to build a digital twin, in order to be able to identify all these, let's say, not only anomalies in the data, but all maybe missing data, and also what data is not accurately taken, yeah, from some parts of the production. So yeah, this is sometimes, of course, challenging because clients are not prepared in advance on, even though, yeah, we always mention that, with implementing such systems, of course, also certain changes in their current way of working, in their current processes, as well as certain organizational changes may appear. Now, in some more, let's say, advanced, more digitalized companies, that's, let's say, not so much challenging. In other companies, which are maybe not yet so much digitally mature, it can represent certain challenge, but, we then are able to provide them support to go beyond that. I hope I answered.
Perfect.
question.
Thank you, Gregor, for clarifying.
Whoever will watch later on also feel free to contact me afterwards with any questions.
Great, thanks. That's a really generous offer. Thank you again, Gregor. Thank you to everyone watching. And just a reminder to our audience, this is an ongoing series, the 21st Century Supply Chain Planning webinar series, as mentioned at the beginning, to connect like minds, to connect experts in manufacturing, and to share knowledge. And you can find our previous episodes on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Quantics-io. You can always reach out to us at Quantics if you have any specific questions about the webinar series or our services and solutions as well. So thanks again, Gregor, and I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.